Okay, so today we're going to look at how it is that I can find a missing number when solving fraction problems, for instance, in a missing numerator or a missing denominator. So we're going to begin by looking at the very first question. 5/2 plus 3 over m is equal to 13/14. So the very first thing we should notice is that there is a missing, in this case, missing denominator. So I'm just going to put a box around that. So what I'm going to do is, because I know this is missing and I don't really know anything about it, I'm going to actually take that whole thing out and I'm going to rewrite this equation using inverse operation to solve for this, because I know this plus something will give me a total of 13/4. So I can actually rewrite that with inverse operation as subtraction. Hey! So I can write it now. Again, I'm going to rewrite it using, hey Erica, how are you? Oh, hey Erica, hey. I'm going to rewrite it as subtraction. So I will take it now and put this 13/4 minus the 5/2. If I take those two and I subtract them, that will actually tell me what the value of this actually is. So now when I look at those two fractions, what do I notice about them? Hopefully you notice that they have an unlike denominator. They have numbers of 4 and 2. So I want you to take a moment and think, what would be my common denominator of 4 and 2? Hey Nehemiah! Right, my common denominators for 4 and 2. Very good, Erica. My common denominator for 4 and 2 is going to be 4. But of course, if you didn't know, you could list your multiples for 2, 2, 4, 6, 8. You have multiples for 4, 4, 8, 12, and you would see that your least common multiple is 4, which you would use to create your least common denominator. So basically, I want a denominator of 4. 13/4 is already in fourths, so I'm just going to drop it straight down. This one is in halves, and I want to take it from halves into fourths. So I want to figure out, how do I go from 2 to 4? Hey Nick. Right, I multiply by 2. And what I do to my denominator, I'm going to do to my numerator as well. I'm going to multiply the whole fraction by 2 halves. So 2 times 2 gave me that 4. 5 times 2 gives me an equivalent numerator of 10. And so now you can see I have common denominators, and now the only thing I have left to do is to subtract. 13 minus 10 is 3/4. So this is the value of that missing number, but let's make sure we take it back to our original fraction. Our original fraction has 3 as a numerator. This one has 3 as a numerator, so there's not too much to do to it. So the value of m is 4. Good job, Erica. Okay, let's look at another example. If you're in my class, I didn't ask you to do number 2, but I'm going to do number 2 as well, just for an FYI. This one actually has the missing number at the end, which is fine. So basically, I'm just going to ignore it, and I'm going to solve 13/20 plus 9/20. Now, what do I recognize about those two fractions, 13/20 and 9/20? Right, hopefully you're recognizing that once again they have unlike denominators of 20 and 13. So what would be their least common denominator? Again, I could list my multiples if I needed to, 10, 20, 30, and then multiples for 20, 20, 40, 60. Hopefully you'd recognize that your least common denominator should be 20. This one's already in 20, so I'm just gonna... Good job, Erica. Wow, you're really great at math. A girl after my own heart is 13/20. I feel like when people get something right, I should do like, ta-da! Okay, that was fun. This one is in tenths, and I want to go from tenths to, as Erica is saying, to 20ths. So I need to figure out, what am I going to do to go from 10 to 20? Right, if I want to go from 10 to 20, I'm going to be multiplying by 2. So I'm going to multiply the whole fraction with 2 over 2. 2. Woo. So if I do that, 2 times 9, my equivalent numerator here is going to be 18. So now I have a common denominator. The only thing I need to do with it now is to add it 13 plus 18. So if I can't add it this way, I could always rewrite it going up and down. 13 plus 18. Yes, I'm at school, Erica, and yes to Nehemiah, your homework is only number 1 and 7, but I am giving you a couple extra as help. So I'm going to do number 7 actually now. But anyways, you get 31 over 20. I want you to stop and take a moment, think, what do you know about 31 over 20? While you guys are doing that, I am going to pause it for a sec because my son is at the door and apparently, oh, he found his way in. See that? He did. He found his way in. One way or another. All right. So no worries. So then what I'm going to do now, I know that 13 over 20 is, I can regroup it. This is a fraction greater than 1. So how many 20ths will give me 1 whole? Right, 20. So you're going to subtract 20. But basically whatever that denominator is how much it takes to make a whole. So if I take away 20 20ths to make a whole, now I have 1 and 31 minus 20, 1 and 11 20ths. So that one was pretty simple. Yay! Woo-hoo. Okay, let's do the same thing. I'm going to go down and look at number 7. So, number 7, again, when you look at it, you see that we have a missing number. So what we talked about is I can take that whole thing out. Since I know I'm adding 3 and 2/5 plus a number to get 8 and 2/15, I can use my understanding of the relationship between addition and subtraction and rewrite it using my inverse operation. So I can rewrite it as 8 and 2/15 minus 3 and 2/5 equals, and then solve for what it equals. So again, hello Guido. So again, I'm going to take it and just rewrite it using inverse operation, 8 and 2/15 minus the one that I know about, 3 and 2/5. And that will give me whatever the value of this should be. Oh, Enrique's on. I didn't even see Enrique. So when I look at these, I should see that they have unlike denominators. Mommy. They have a denominator of 15 and a denominator of 5. And I want to figure out what is going to be the least common denominator. So obviously I would say if you need to, list your multiples. 5, 10, 15, 20. Multiples for 15, you've got 15, 30, blah, blah, blah. Miss Foreman, I am zombie. That must be Enrique saying he's a zombie. And so here, least common denominator is going to be 15. This one's already in 15, so I don't need to do anything to it. I'm just going to drop it straight down. 8 and 2/15 minus, here I want to go from 5 to that common denominator of 15. So I got to figure out what am I going to do to go from 5 to 15. 5 to 15. 5 to 15. What am I going to do? Right. I'm going to multiply by 3. So multiply that whole fraction by 3/3, because again 3/3 is like multiplying by 1, doesn't change your value. So if I did 5 times 3 is 15, do the same thing to your numerator. Your equivalent numerator then will be 6. Ta-da! So now I have that common denominator, and I can just look at my numerators and subtract. 2 minus 6. Oh man, another roadblock. I can't do 2 minus 6. So since I cannot do 2 minus 6, I have to regroup from my whole. My 7 is going to become, my 8 is going to become a 7. But how much am I going to add into this fraction to represent 1 whole that I borrowed? Right, I'm going to add 15 to the 2 that I already have to show that I have borrowed. Because 15 fifteenths equals 1 whole. So if I had 2 fifteenths and now I'm adding the 15 fifteenths, now I actually have 17 fifteenths. Well, 7 and 17 fifteenths. And then minus 6 fifteenths, and now I can subtract. Very good, Erica. Woo, you go, girl. Now I can subtract 17 minus 6. You guys are saying what tomorrow? Tomorrow I'm going to be giving out the science fair packets. We're going to go over them in class. So 17 minus 6 gives you 11 fifteenths. Oh, I see. I forgot to drop down that whole number there. I was like, that doesn't make sense. And then 7 minus 3 gives you a whole number of 4. So go back to your original fraction here. Our original fraction was 4 and p fifteenths. So we have 4 and p is equal to 11 fifteenths. So yay, that's that one. These ones on the back side are much easier than the ones that we were doing on the front side, but the ones on the front side are a little bit more like what we're going to do in class. Yes, you're going to get your science fair packets tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to walk through the science fair packets and talk about what you're needing in order to obtain that good score. So I'm going to do one more example from the back side because I know the back side is a little bit more challenging, but it's also a little bit more like what you will be seeing as you're taking a test. So let's look at the... Let's look here at the back side. It says 2 and n over 15 minus 1/2 is equal to 2 and 1/10. So again, box that fraction that's where it's missing a part. Box that whole thing. And now I can apply my understanding of the relationship between addition and subtraction to rewrite it. I know that I started with something and I took a half away, which left me with this. So I want to figure out how much did I start with. In order to figure out how much you started with, you could just rewrite it as addition. You can add that 1/2 that you took away plus the 2 and 1/10 that you have left over. And that will tell you how much you started with. So when you look at this, you've got 2 and 10, and you need to figure out what is going to be your common denominator for 2 and 10. Again, if you need to list your multiples, then you can list your multiples. Otherwise, if you know it off the top of your head, your least common denominator should be 10. So I need to figure out what did I do to go from 2 to 10. Very good, Erica. So to go from 2 to 10, I multiplied by 5. So again, what you do to the bottom, you must also do to the top. Hi, Jatavia. Oh, very good, very good. Woo, got some active participants. Excellent. We're going to multiply that whole thing by 5. So 1 times 5 gives you an equivalent numerator of 5. 1/2 is equivalent to 5/10. And then I'm going to join together the 2 1/10. This one is already in tenths, so I'm just going to drop it straight down. And now join together my 2 fractions. 5/10 plus 1/10 equals 6/10. The whole number is a 2. So this is what we get as an answer, and these two are it's equivalent to my missing number here. So take it back to that original fraction. That original fraction had a denominator of 5. but I have a denominator of 10. So I need to figure out what am I going to do to go from 10 down to 5. So if I'm going from a bigger number to a smaller number, what operation am I performing?
Mommy.
Right, I am dividing. So 10 divided by what is giving me 5? Who's a turtle? You guys are nuts. 10 divided by 2. Good job. And again, what you do to the bottom, you're also going to do to the top. So divide that numerator by 2 as well. And you get an equivalent numerator. Good job, good job, good job. Excellent answers. Ooh, good job, Guido. Good, excellent. So again, what you do to the bottom, you're going to do the top. 6 divided by 2 gives you an equivalent fraction of 3/5. Therefore, since the numerator is missing, your missing numerator, your answer is 3. What I want to stress upon you guys is, again, when you're answering the question, you're only needing to fill in the missing number. So don't write 3/5, just write the missing number is 3. All right, that's it for today, guys. I'm going to post the video, so if you need any help, you want to go back and rewatch, you can. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll try to answer them tonight. I can always go back on tonight around 8 o'clock if you need any more help. Otherwise, have a great night, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Good night, Guido. Guido, you better be in class tomorrow, love. See you tomorrow. Please, no what? Please, yes. All right, bye, guys.
So, Mommy.